Hi, I'm Amanda Harrell, and I'm a career educator within student engagement and career development. I talk with students about their career paths and help with things like resume writing, interviewing skills, and creating effective job search strategies.
And I'm Justin Finnerty, Assistant Director for Employer and Alumni Engagement. I meet with employers and build partnerships with our industry partners in order to provide more opportunities for our Wildcats here at the University of Arizona.
This video is all about researching salaries. The content in this video is especially helpful if you're starting to research different industries, looking at different employers, or preparing to answer the question, what are your salary requirements? So in this video, Justin and I are going to give you 8 tips for researching salary. Our first tip is pretty basic. Start your research early. Doing research can give you insight into fair and competitive salary ranges for particular roles and within different industries. As salary may be important as you evaluate different opportunities, it might help you make decisions about different possibilities that you want to pursue. Also, as you enter into a salary conversation with employers, you want to enter into that conversation with confidence. Doing salary research and understanding how salaries are set can give you background on the subject. The more research that you do, the more background you will bring to that conversation.
Amanda mentioned I work with employers to bring more opportunities to our Wildcats. As I talk regularly with employers, I can share info that can help you understand why salaries have a range and how employers determine salary. Salary is determined by many factors, including demand, required skills and education, availability of jobs in the market, and availability of candidates. Salary ranges vary across employers. Some have competitive packages and other additional factors like benefits that also affect the range. You will also see salaries range across locations. This is due to demand across different markets, cost of living in different cities. For example, you'll find that a social media coordinator in Phoenix doesn't make quite as much as a social media coordinator in San Francisco. You need to consider these differences between these 2 locations as you're doing your research and determining what opportunities are great for you.
You might be wondering, how do your skills and education factor into all of this? Which brings us to our third tip. Have an idea of where you fall in the salary range. When you see a job description, you might see a list of requirements listed under minimum qualifications, preferred qualifications, or within the responsibilities. Consider how many of these things you have done and to what degree you have done them. You're thinking about how much experience you would bring to this role. For someone entering into their very first role, they're probably going to fall in the lower end of the salary range. If you bring experience or meet all of the minimum requirements as well as some of the preferred qualifications, you'll likely fall into the higher end of the salary range. Also, if you bring additional experience to the position that would help to impact that role, for example, if you've had leadership experience and have managed a team and you're bringing that in, you might fall into the higher end of the salary range. This brings us to another important point, which is that salary won't always be listed. Many employers keep salary information withheld on their website, or they have it listed as DOE, which stands for depending on experience. When this is the case, doing your research on salary range is very important, as you'll likely be starting with just the job title. So how do you do research? Fortunately, there are some great resources available for you to conduct salary research. Glassdoor.com is a great resource to use. On Glassdoor, you can browse job categories and popular searches to see information by industry. It's easy to use as you can search by job title, location, and by company. The salary information posted is crowdsourced. So different individuals who have held those titles are the ones who are posting the information. And they also leave comments, and sometimes these comments or reviews can help you understand and kind of translate some of that salary data. There's a couple things to remember if you're using Glassdoor. Because the information is crowdsourced, there's varying information. So you might be reading a salary range that is coming from 5 people or from 50. So like Yelp, you want to use really good judgment as you're making assumptions about those ranges. Another thing to point out is that information might not always be current. It could have been posted from a year ago, And employers change salaries based on changing market demands, their own business needs, and sometimes they adapt salaries to reflect current cost of living.
Salary.com can be a reliable resource for your research because it is a large database of salary information, and that information is provided by employers. It includes job statistics, requirements for the opportunities, and even some information on benefits. It has reporting options you have to pay for, so use it as you see fit. However, most students are researching entry-level jobs, and this information is easy to access than more specific information for higher-level opportunities.
You may have heard that it's taboo to talk about salary, and that's understandable. It can be a delicate subject, and some people may or may not feel comfortable discussing salary. However, without seeking out this information and discussing it, we're keeping some of those taboos in place and ignoring one of our greatest resources, which is each other. Tap into the knowledge and experience of your friends, family, and peers. I've gotten some of the best advice about salary by being straightforward and transparent. Talking with peers can provide you more insight into salary across different industries as well as within similar job titles. How you talk about salary and how you approach this conversation is really important. So it doesn't look like this. Hey, Justin, so how much money do you make? It does look like, Justin, as I'm researching salaries, I want to gather as much information as possible so I can make an informed decision. You're in an industry I'm really interested in working within, and I'm wondering if you'd be willing to discuss salary information with me so I can better understand the range and know what to anticipate. Not everyone will be comfortable disclosing salary information, and that's okay. But if you do get to have this conversation, you're getting firsthand information that can help you be informed. Remember, whatever your peer tells you is most likely shared in confidence, so treat this information with confidentiality and respect.
Remember to use the career education team as a resource. The student engagement and career development team has access to labor market and data within different industries and can help you navigate salary range research. Make an appointment with the career education through Handshake if you need assistance with your research or want to practice having a conversation about salary. Have some job titles in mind. Discovering job titles is a part of the job search, and doing salary research can help you to expand your knowledge of different roles. Have locations you want to research. If you are open to relocating, do some research in cities of your interest to see the industries and businesses that are located in that city. If you have companies in mind, that's a great way to refine your search. On platforms like Glassdoor, once you enter the job title and location information, you can enter in years of experience to see different ranges.
As you are preparing to apply to jobs and interview, you will be asked the question, so what are your salary expectations? This could happen during an interview, or it could also happen very early on in a phone screen. Remember, research builds confidence. When I've had conversations about salary, I felt empowered in the situation the more that I knew. Know your information and your research well, and how salaries that you've researched vary across different industries, within different companies, and across varying locations. Focus on what you know to be fair and competitive. Have a sense of where you fall in the salary range. We typically suggest allowing the employer the opportunity to first bring up salary and initiate that conversation. And in an ideal situation, an employer would be the first to make an offer with a salary, but this isn't always the case. Here are two scenarios of how you might handle this conversation. Justin, what are your salary expectations?
Well, I've done quite a bit of research on salaries for this role as well as within this location. If I am the right candidate for the position, I would really like to hear your offer and look forward to receiving an offer that is fair and competitive within industry.
This is a great way to handle this conversation. However, there will be times when you are expected to produce a figure and answer the question. Here is another way you might handle this conversation.
Amanda, what are your salary expectations?
Well, I've done a lot of market research, and having talked with you, I have a greater idea of the level of responsibility especially around developing team members. Given my background in leadership and having managed a team in my past, in my last role, I have ideas about what I can bring to this particular position. I'm looking for a salary in the range of $35,000 to $40,000. Be sure to back up the reason for what you are asking for. Focus on the employer perspective when you're thinking of this. You really want to focus on what you're going to bring to the role and why you're worth it versus what you need.
You know best what is important to you. It's up to you to evaluate what you are seeking. We suggest researching a solid amount of market information as well as crowdsourcing information. Combined with your own critical thinking, you can make a best decision for your needs. Enter salary conversations with confidence, remembering the student engagement and career development team are here to support you.